Anyway, so we started to talk about Braille keyboards. Anna touched on the TalkBack Braille keyboard. Now I am going to demonstrate what will be the first in a series on the advanced Braille keyboard.
Hello everyone, I'm Ed Green, and this week I'm going to be demonstrating the app Advanced Braille Keyboard. I had thought I could cover the app's features in one demonstration, but to be honest, there's so much in it that I think I'm going to return to it in future podcast episodes. This week I'll tell you a little bit about the app, we'll set it up, and I'll go through some of the settings, and then in future episodes I'll explore its functionality a little further. So what is Advanced Braille Keyboard? As its name suggests, it is a way to write Braille on your Android device. Many of you will be familiar with the TalkBack Braille keyboard, which is a nice innovation, and it's great that it exists, but it is pretty limited in functionality. Advanced Braille keyboard has a rich array of features. First of all, it supports many languages, both through its built-in Braille engine and also the LibLewis Braille tables, with which you might be familiar. Jules, I think, switched to using those as well, or LibLouis. I'm not quite sure what the pronunciation ought to be. Probably LibLouis, as Louis Braille is French. Many languages are supported by LibLouis, and hence incorporating that into Advanced Braille Keyboard means that it supports many languages, both modern and ancient. There's even Sanskrit, if you want to write in Sanskrit Braille and explore that. It supports Braille screen input in the usual two methods, so tabletop or laptop layout, as they call it, or screen away mode, or I think two-hand outward is how Advanced Braille Keyboard describes that method. So that is supported. You can also enter Braille with a hardware QWERTY keyboard, should you wish to. So the home row will become your Braille keys, so FDS 1, 2, 3, JKL 4, 5, 6. So if you want to write Braille hardware with a hardware keyboard, there's no need to invest in a dedicated Braille hardware keyboard unless you particularly want to, if you have this app. The other really nice thing that the app does is it has quite powerful editing features. So you can move your cursor around, you can select text both by selecting all, and you can mark places in the text where you want to select it. You can cut and copy it. So all sorts of things you can do with this that you can't do with the TalkBack Braille keyboard. It also lets you customize and add Braille tables. It's using LibLouis, so that is open source, and you can do that in the app and add, copy different Braille tables to your device in the right folders, and it will use those Braille tables. And it also has a map function if you want to understand sort of key maps and bindings for your particular Braille language. So hugely powerful apps. I've kind of skated over its features there, really. And as I say, I want to return to some of them in a second, possibly a third demonstration. I might be able to get it done in two, but there's certainly more, I think, to cover than I can do justice to in one episode. It's not a free app. It's £10 in the Play Store in the UK. I'm guessing the dollar equivalent will be, or the dollar price will be roughly equivalent, perhaps a little more. But I hope you get the sense from that feature set that that there is a lot here that you don't get with the TalkBack Braille keyboard, particularly, I suspect, with our listenership, the different languages that this supports, where English might not be the only language you want to write in. So enough from me. I'm now going to unlock my phone and we'll... 0958. There we go. So I have uninstalled the app and reinstalled it. I could have cleared its cache and data, but I chose to do it this way. So hopefully when we set it up, we will be starting from scratch. So I'm going to open the app now.
Allow Advanced Braille Keyboard to record audio while using the app button. Double tap to activate.
So I'm going to allow its various permissions. I think it must have voice input as well. I haven't actually explored that, but I can't see why else it would want to record audio.
Allow Advanced Braille Keyboard to access photos, media, and files on your device. Allow button.
We want it to do
Double
that.
tap to activate.
It needs to access its Braille tables, otherwise it's not going to be a right lot of use. We want it to be able to do other things as well.
Advanced Braille Keyboard. Enable Braille Keyboard button. Double
So,
tap to activate.
as with any keyboard, we need to go and enable it in keyboard settings. I'll do this now. Just double tap on this.
Manage on-screen keyboards. Back button.
So
Double
we're in
tap to
our
activate.
usual keyboard settings dialog here. So I'm just going to explore this.
Manage on-screen keyboards. Search settings. Board. Multilingual typing. On. Talkback Braille keyboard. On. Advanced Braille keyboard. Off.
This
Switch.
is what we want. It's
Double
currently
tap
off.
to activate. Attention. This input method may be able to collect all the text you type, including personal data such as passwords and credit card numbers. It comes from the app Advanced Braille Keyboard. Before use, you should read their privacy policy, terms of user guidelines, if applicable. Use this input method, out of list. Cancel. OK button.
We do want to use
Double
the
tap
input
to
method,
activate.
so I will hit OK.
Note. After a reboot, this app can't start until you unlock your phone. Cancel. But OK button.
Fine.
Manage on-screen keyboards. Advanced Braille key. Back button, out of list.
So I'm now going to hit
Navigation bar. Back.
the back button here,
Double tap
and
to activate. Double tap
that
and
will
hold
take
to long
us
press.
back to the permissions it needs.
Please enable APK accessibility overlay. Accessibility. Back button. Accessibility. Search settings. Services. Heading. And APK screen overlay off.
So we
Double
want to
tap to
turn
activate.
this on, and we're going to get another warning.
APK screen overlay. Back button, out of APK screen overlay. Use service off. Switch and list. Allow APK screen overlay to have full control of your device. Full control is appropriate for apps that help you with accessibility needs, but not for most apps. Out of list. View and control screen. It can read all content on the screen and display content over other apps. View and perform actions. It can track your interactions with an app or a hardware sensor and interact with apps on your behalf. Allow button. APK screen overlay. Use service on. Switch and list.
And I'm going to hit
Double
the
tap to
back button
activate.
again to take us back into the app.
Navigation bar. Accessibility. APK screen overlay on and list. Navigation bar. Back.
Do it
button,
again.
out. Advanced Braille keyboard. Enable Braille keyboard. Button. Switch to Braille keyboard. Button. Set up Bluetooth keyboard. Button. Settings. Button.
And it's
Double tap
settings
to
I want to go to. Before I go much further, I should say that when you are using the keyboard, if you are using TalkBack, you will need to suspend TalkBack because the Braille screen input methods will conflict with Explore by Touch. You don't have to turn commentary off. Commentary will take care of
Synchronizing
itself.
data with storage service.
So, yeah, but for TalkBack, do have that shortcut set up, the accessibility shortcut, so that you can toggle it off and on again relatively straightforwardly with the volume buttons, well, certainly on non-Samsung devices anyway. So, yeah, do have that enabled because, as I say, you will need to suspend TalkBack when using the Braille keyboard. For the remainder of this demonstration, I'm going to go through the settings. I want to set this up anyway because I've uninstalled it, so there's sort of a point to do this. We're on settings already, so I'll double tap.
Settings. Languages and list.
Languages is the top setting. This is quite important. I want to go in here.
Languages. Start with default language, not ticked. Tick box and list.
I do want to
Double
start.
tap to activate.
I do want it to start in the default language, so I'll tick this.
Select Braille engine. Braille engine. Set Libulus engine languages. Braille engine.
So we
Double
will
tap to
select the
activate.
Braille engine.
Cancel. Ticked. Libulus and list.
So it is set
Double
to
tap to
LibLouis
toggle.
at the minute, which will give you more languages. Some of the LibLouis Braille tables can be a bit problematic. So, for instance, there are issues with the UK Standard English Braille, or Sensible English Braille, as I call it, Grade 2 table. But nonetheless, I think I am going to stick with LibLouis and see how we go. But I could choose
APK built in.
if I
Double
wanted
tap
to.
to toggle.
So I'm happy with LibLouis.
Cancel. AP ticked.
So I'm going to back out of
Navigation
that.
bar. Languages. Braille engine and list. Set Libulus engine languages.
So we'll set the
Double tap to
LibLouis
activate.
engine language now.
Set Libulus engine languages. Set default language and list. Default language. Double tap to activate. Tick the required languages given below. Spanish grade 2. Ticked. Tick box. Double
So
tap to activate.
below
Tick the
default is
required
some
languages
secondary
given below.
languages we can have if we
Synchronizing
want.
data with storage service.
So if you do enter multilingual Braille, then you will want to check some secondary languages in this list. But I'm going to concern myself with the default language just for now.
Default language. Cancel. Turkish grade 1 and list.
So
Double
it's
tap to
landed
toggle.
us pretty randomly in the middle of the list. I'm not quite sure what that's about, but we've landed on Turkish. I'll swipe up to English just to give you a flavour of some of the languages. If I get bored, I'll scroll, but just to give you a flavour of what it supports.
Swana grade 1. Tibetan grade 1. Telugu grade 1. Tamil grade 2. Tamil grade 1. Swedish grade 1. Swedish computer 1996. Swedish computer 1989. Swedish 1996 standard.
Well, the Swedes change their Braille code a lot, don't they?
Spanish grade 2. Spanish computer Spanish. Sotho grade 1. Sarani Kurdish grade 1. Slovenian 8. Computer Braille. Slovene grade 1. Slovak official. Slovak grade 1. Sinhala. Sindhi grade 1. Simplified Chinese. Serbian grade 1. Sanskrit grade 1. Russian literary.
There's your Sanskrit lick.
Russian grade 1. Russian computer Russian. Romanian. Punjabi grade 1. Portuguese grade 1. Portuguese computer Portuguese Brazil grade. Portuguese Brazil. Polish grade 1. Polish computer Persian computer Persian. Pali. Korea grade 1. Norwegian grade 1. Norwegian literary. Norwegian generic. Norwegian computer Braille. Nepali grade 1.
So this is the benefit of LibLui, I guess. All these Braille tables.
Munda. Mongolian grade. Marwari. Marathi grade 1. Maori Braille. Manipuri grade 1.
Maori there for New Zealanders.
Maltese. Malayalam grade 3. Malay grade 2. Malay grade 1. Lithuanian 8. Lithuanian. Latvian grade 1. Kurd.
I think you get the point. Lots of languages, some of which I've never even heard of. So let's do a little bit of a scroll.
German computer Braille. Synchronized. French computer Braille. English UK grade 1. English UK grade 2.
That was a fortuitous bit of scrolling. I didn't think I'd land that accurately, but there we are. English grade 2 is what I want.
Set LibLuis engine languages. Default language. Enlist. Double tap to activate.
So that is set. Might be quite nice if it told me what it was. I think I'd like to see it do that, but nevertheless, I have confidence that I've set it properly.
Set default language.
So I'm going to back out.
Bar. Bengali grade 1.
But we could go and set some secondary languages, as I said. So
Bengali, Awanti grade 1. Assamese grade 1. Not ticked. Armenian. Not ticked. Arabic grade 2. Arabic grade 1. Arabic computer Braille. Afrikaans grade 2. Afrikaans grade 1. Unified English grade 2. Ticked. Tick box.
I don't need any other languages, so I'm going to uncheck these.
Unified English grade 1. Ticked. Spanish grade 2. Ticked. Tick the required languages given below.
So Spanish and UEB, it defaulted to having ticked. I don't want them. So I've unticked them. Let's back out of here.
Languages. Set LibLuis engine languages. Enlist.
I've done that.
Set built-in engine languages. Double tap to
There are
activate.
fewer built-in engine languages. Let's just go have a little look in here to see what you've got.
Set built-in engine languages. Set default language. Enlist. Default language.
We'll do that again. Go into
Cancel.
default.
Ticked. English. Enlist. Message. English grade 2. Ticked. English. Dutch. Ticked. English grade. Finish.
So there's only one
Double tap to
variant
toggle.
of English, you see, whereas had I explored, we would have found, well, you heard about UEB, we would have found US English if I'd explored it. So not unreasonably, I think, given the extensive support offered by LibLuis, there is, a limited number of languages in here.
French. Georgian. German. Hindi. Hungarian. Italian. Kannada. Lithuanian. Malay. Malayalam. Nepali. Norwegian. Numerical.
So we've only got one Norwegian Braille code, and we had approximately 750 million, I think, in the LibLuis selection. So I'll back out of this, but you've got good options here too if you don't like LibLuis Braille tables, and as I said, there might be reasons you don't. So I shall back out.
Navigation bar. Set built-in engine languages. Default navigation bar.
Set it.
Languages. Set built-in engine languages. Enlist.
I'll back out
Navigation
of here
bar.
again.
Settings. Languages. Braille. Double tap
Let's
to
go
activate.
have a look at the Braille options.
Braille. Simple mode. Simplified Braille for kids and beginners by avoiding contractions and abbreviations. Not ticked. Tick box. Enlist. One hand mode. Type using one hand by separating Braille combinations to first and second half. First 1, 2, 3 turns to 4, 5, 6. Not ticked. Tick box.
So really
Double tap
useful
to
if you
activate.
aren't able to use both hands. It does have a one-hand Braille mode.
Conventional Braille mode. Follow same rules of Braille instead of a Nycode based. Ticked. Tick box.
I think we
Double
do
tap
want
to
conventional
activate.
Braille.
Space to expand abbreviation. Ticked. Tick box. Auto insert space after abbreviation. Ticked. Tick box. Capitalize first character of sentence. Ticked. Tick box. Capitalize first character of line. Not ticked. Tick box.
So quite a lot in there.
Navigation
I'll back out.
Settings. Braille. Braille screen input. Double
Braille
tap to
screen
activate.
input. We want to have a look at this.
Braille screen input. General. Enlist. Braille screen type. Change the way of arranging buttons representing dots. Braille type. Change the number of dots. Literary 6 or computer 8. Double command hold delay. Change milliseconds to become combination to command. Transparency. Change Braille screen transparency to view written text. Privacy not ticked. Tick box. Double tap
So
to activate.
there's a screen curtain or privacy mode here. You can activate that with a gesture as well.
Play letter typing sound. Not ticked. Tick box.
Do you want it
Double tap to activate.
play a noise when you type a letter? If you don't, there's no haptic and it's entirely silent. You are literally just tapping on a screen.
Synchronizing
It
data
will
with
feel
storage
like
service.
you are tapping on a locked screen for all the response you've got, assuming you've got touch to wake disabled, obviously. So you won't get anything by way of sound or haptic if you don't tick this.
Invert gesture direction. Not ticked. Tick box. Haptic feedback. Not ticked. Tick box.
So we can
Double
have
tap to
haptics
activate.
without letter sound. I think I'm going to do that.
Speech. Speech. Ticked. Tick box. Double text to speech engine. Double tap to activate.
So we can use whatever text-to-speech engine we want, either system default or set another one. It'll show all your installed TTSs if you go in here.
Typing echo. Double tap to activate.
So typing echo is either off, characters, words, or both, which I think is really handy.
Speak password. Not ticked. Tick box. Double tap to
You can
activate.
have it speak passwords if you want.
High pitch. Always announce welcome message. Ticked. Tick box.
There's a
Double tap
welcome
to
message.
activate.
That is when the keyboard itself is displayed. Obviously, we're in the app at the minute and we didn't get a welcome message. So that relates to when the keyboard becomes available.
Customize touch hold commands. Customize gesture commands. Synchronizing data
We
with
can
storage
change
service.
its
Double tap
gestures.
to act. Navigation bar. Settings. Braille screen and physical keyboard.
I don't
Double tap
use
to
a physical
activate.
keyboard, so I'm not going to go in there.
Advanced settings. Sounds. Double tap.
Let's look at
Advanced
advanced
settings.
settings.
Advanced settings. Change following options very carefully and list. Braille screen input gesture sensitivity. Change the discrimination between typing and swiping. An increase will prioritize swipe over typing. Braille screen input gesture drag length. Change minimum swipe length for recognizing gestures.
So we won't mess
Navigation
about
bar.
with that, I don't think.
Settings.
We shall
Advanced
heed the
settings.
warning.
Sounds. Secondary keyboard. Sounds.
So we've got
Double
sounds.
tap to
I'll have a quick
activate.
look in here.
Sounds. Set sound theme and list. Theme. Set each sounds. Opening. Calibrated. Dot assigned. Type. Type uppercase. New line. Closing.
So you can have all sorts of different sounds for when it does different things, if that's what you want.
Navigation bar.
Come out of here.
Settings. Sounds. Secondary keyboard.
So secondary
Double tap to
keyboard.
activate.
There are various things you can do. You can close it, or you can move to next keyboard with a gesture. So that moving to next gesture will determine whether it does in fact move to a next keyboard or whether it brings up a list of keyboards. I think I do want it to move to a keyboard. I want it to move to Gboard without asking me every time. I don't think I'll want to switch from this to the TalkBack Braille keyboard, for instance. So I'm going to go and change this.
Cancel. Ticked. Show keyboard selector and list. Last used keyboard. Ticked. Show keyboard selector. Settings. Secondary keyboard and list. Voice input. Restore to default settings. Voice in. Secondary keyboard. Sounds. Advanced setting. Sound. Secondary keyboard.
So secondary keyboard, it closed me
Cancel.
out when I
Ticked.
did that.
Show keyboard
Interesting.
selector and list. Last used keyboard. Settings. Secondary keyboard and list.
Ah, that's why. So
Double tap to activate.
they were radio buttons, not checkboxes. So I could either have show a list of keyboards or last used keyboard. Those are my options. I can't actually go in and set it to switch to a specific keyboard unless it was the one I last used. I think that's fair enough. I tend to use. Well, I used to use Gboard and TalkBack Braille keyboard. Now I'm going to switch between this and Gboard most of the time. So I'm happy that it does that.
Voice input.
We're going to have a look
Double
at
tap
voice
to activate.
input. You'll remember that it asked if we wanted to record audio.
Digital Assistant app. Back. Button. Digital Assistant app. Search settings. Default Digital Assistant app. Google and list. Settings. Button. Use text from screen. Allow the Assist app to access the screen contents as text. On. Switch. Use screenshot. Allow the Assist app to access an image of the screen. On. Switch. Flash screen. Flash edges of screen. When Assist app accesses text from screen or screenshot. Off. Assist apps can help you based on information from the screen that you're viewing. Some apps support both launcher and voice input services to give you integrated assistance. Back. Button. Out of list.
I haven't really
Settings.
explored it enough
Voice
to
input
know
and list.
quite how we would
Double
use
tap to
voice
activate.
input in that scenario, unless it's that it will let you braille into the assistance app instead of speaking to it. Could well be, but I probably need to do a little bit more digging into that to see what it does.
Restore the default settings.
And we can restore defaults if we weren't careful and didn't heed its warning in the advanced settings. So those are the settings, and I am going to leave it there this week. And next week, we will look at typing and editing.
I've got to say, I'm quite impressed by this app. It does a lot more than I thought it did, and I'd like to thank the developer for very generously giving me a coupon code so that I could demonstrate the app for free. As I said in the demo, it's a £10 app, but it is also an editor, and it allows you to braille on a QWERTY keyboard. So you don't necessarily need a Braille keyboard in order to be able to write Braille. So a very nice app with a huge number of languages supported. I've got to say I was quite impressed. Mariam, you use it, don't you, or you have it?
Yeah, I use the advanced Braille keyboard especially because it's kind of, I think, much easier, and it's actually more flexible, I would say. And also with the editing gestures, like you could copy and paste and everything, I do like it.
Now, there is a chance to win a redeemable code for the advanced Braille keyboard. We are going to offer one lucky winner access to this app. As I say, it costs about $10, 11 or 12. Did you say? Sorry, £10, $11 or $12. Did you say, Warren?
It's $11.99. Yeah, $12 to be precise.
So in order to be able to win this, please email us at contactus@blindandroidusers.com and let me know which screen reader do you not have to suspend in order to be able to use the advanced Braille keyboard. Which screen reader do you not have to suspend in order to be able to use the advanced Braille keyboard? The first lucky winner will get a code. I'll tell you what, if we're running 6-4 the field, I'm backing Martin Brown to win this. He has won our last two competitions. He's a Speedy Gonzalez off the mark boy. I might be wrong. Someone else might get it, but he has been successful in our last couple.
And now a word from our sponsor, the world's most trusted WordPress backup, restore, and clone plugin. Hacking, server crashes, dodgy updates, or simple user error can ruin your WordPress site. That is why you need Updraft Plus. Install Updraft Plus to protect your WordPress-powered site by visiting updraftplus.com. That's updraftplus.com. UPDRAFTPLUS.com. We thank Updraft Plus for sponsoring this episode of the Blind Android Users Podcast.